Hello everyone, my name is Noah and welcome to this Stitches video. I am trying to get this filmed with the last of the sunlight for the day. It's that time of year where it feels like as soon as the sun rises, it starts setting. So we are going to try and get through this quickly and explain what we're doing so I can maybe get a little bit of work done before it gets too dark. I'm going to be making the Flora pocket belt by Muddy Boots Maker. It is basically a pocket that you tie on like a belt. It is something that I've never made before, but I've been very interested in this type of like tie-on pocket for quite a while, ever since I started to learn about the pockets that were popular during like the Victorian era and a little bit before, I think. Those ones that they would put underneath the skirts, and that was how they had pockets. They had slits in the dress and they'd reach into the pocket that way rather than the pocket being a part of the dress. I've been really interested in those for a while, but I've never made one, even though it was kind of in the back of my mind. So when I shared a reel showing off this pocket to my friend asked me, can you make this for me? You know, I'll pay you, da 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 da. I said yes, because I was excited and I wanted to make one for myself. So in this video, we're going to be making mine as well as theirs. I think that's everything we need to know, so let's get started. Okay, so I have picked out my color palette for my friend's pocket. So it's a little bit of a, not a mess, just a little bit of a wild card. So this color has got a thread on it, but this is just going to be the backing for the fabric to make it a little bit stronger. This will be the piping. This is going to be the back, so it'll be the back of the pocket will be this color instead of the other stuff. So I'm thinking this will be the first pocket, this will be the second, and this will be the third, so it'll split these up. We'll try it, we'll see. The color palettes match, but the like styles don't. But I love this fabric. I think they'll really like it as well, and I think it would serve this project really well. So we'll see. If I don't like it, if I think it looks bad, we can switch to something else. Okay, so here is the finished pieces all cut out. I decided what I wanted to do was, since this vintage fabric is so thin, to do 3 layers. I did the actual pattern fabric, which I fussy cut a bit to make sure there were at least these 2 whole ones right in center and the lines were straight. And then we have this white muslin, real thin woven fabric that will act as another layer, and then we have this green, which I decided to be the backs of the pockets instead of the white, since you will see it when you open the pocket. And then the next layer is this yellow, which was one of the colors my friend requested when I said I would make this for them. They wanted yellows and greens, so I think I satisfied that. We have just the yellow this time, since it's a little bit sturdier of a quilting cotton, and then we have this green in the back again. And then in the very back we have this, which I know is a different fabric than what I initially said I was going to use. Here, I'm going to hold a swatch up closer so you can see it. There we go. It's kind of a checkered plaid with a little bit of lines on it. And the yellow matches the other shades of yellow, both in this fabric down here and this fabric. And I tried a couple different fabrics instead of that dotted fabric like I said I was going to. I tried an off-white. I tried this, which doesn't look bad, but it just doesn't match quite right. And it takes away from the yellow and the green, because while there is green in this and it has this sort of off-white in it, the colors I see the most first are the pink and the blue. And I do think that since there is a sort of plaid checkerboard pattern up here, it kind of matches this. So I have to next take my biased binding, which this is left over from making a quilt. So I don't think it's technically cut on the bias, but it'll be fine. I need to measure it out to the right length to sew along here, and then here, as well as the band that'll go across the top here and longer, and etc. Okay, so here we are finally in December. It is the 3rd. We're kind of in a dark room again. It feels like I am always trying to film, but it's kind of dark. So we're gonna go with cozy. It's cozy. We're in between thunder showers of all things. We don't get thunder showers in December in the Northern Hemisphere. That's not normal, but this is the second one we've had this week. So I don't know what's going on there, but I have my Flora pocket belt by Muddy Boots Maker that I finished sewing for my friend that I mentioned. I decided that I was going to use a slide belt buckle type thing. This was at the request of my friend. I asked them, do you want it to tie like the pattern has, or do you want a slide buckle? And they said slide buckle. So I found 2 different options at the Center for Creative Reuse here in Pittsburgh. And they're both a little bit big compared to the actual strap, which is just leftover bias binding from a quilt that I made last year. Well, I guess it was technically this year I finished it, but I did most of it last year. So it is a little bit big, but I think it's fine. I didn't want to make bigger binding strips because I thought it would look odd if it wasn't the same as the width of the binding on the pocket itself. So that's one difference I made in the pattern. I did lots of things different. It is fundamentally still the same pocket. This isn't one of those, oh, I followed the recipe and it turned out disgusting comments you see on blogs and websites online where they're like, I made this, but I changed everything about it and it was completely different and it tastes awful. This is your fault, pattern or recipe writer. No, I didn't do that. I just Noafied it, I guess. So I did follow the pattern sizes for like the pockets and everything. They're exactly right. I double layered the fabric because it's all quilting cotton and it was thinner and that was what the pattern recommended. If it wasn't a sort of canvas weight fabric, it would need to be double weighted. This front one did triple weight. I put an extra lining in the middle just because this fabric is vintage and it's thinner than what I would consider modern quilting cotton, but I think it looks really nice and I think it turned out pretty well. And like I said, I used binding from a quilt, or binding that was left over from a quilt, so it wasn't quite as stretchy as regular bias binding would be because it wasn't cut on the bias, which is fine, but it did require I put some tucks down in the corner and accommodate for that as it went around the curve. But I did manage to get these little tucks about level and pretty neat when I was hand sewing the front of the binding down, which was another thing I did differently. I did machine sew the binding onto the back, and then I did a ladder stitch on the front. I'm sorry, I'm pulling all the cat hair off of this. I will lint roll it before I give it to them, but right now it's covered in cat hair. I did do an invisible ladder stitch on the front just because I thought it would look nicer, and I like hand stitching things and adding that extra level of, I don't know, just fanciness. I like to be fiddly, I guess. And then I did the same thing for the top strap that becomes the tie. So I did end up hand stitching this entire strap, and you can see one side is larger than the other, and I did that because this is the one that will go around her and it will go through the belt buckle and you'll pull it tight to your waist and it'll stay. I wish I could say that I did this with the placement intentionally. I didn't really think about it, but this, with this on your side of your hip, it will be about her other hip. So it'll be easier to do. I was intending it for it to be in the middle back, but I didn't think about it quite right. But like I said, it'll be on her opposite hip, and I think that'll actually be easier for her to put it on and take it off without having to like shift it around too much. And then the other main difference, I'm trying to cover up her name because I like to respect people's privacy, is I embroidered a bit on the back. It says to my friend's name from Noah, and which is me, and then I put an embroidered goldenrod flowers on the back, because goldenrod are lovely, and that was sort of the color brief that they gave me. They like greens and mustardy yellows and whatnot. I did not have nearly as much yellow fabric as I was expecting. I have a lot more green fabric, but luckily green and yellow can go really nicely together, so I think it looks good. But I am really happy with how the goldenrod flowers turned out, even though it felt like they took me a certified age. I don't know who certified it, but apparently someone did. The stems are the chain stitch, and then the flower itself, like all the little petals, are French knots. And I hate French knots. I do them because I think they look nice. They're relatively easy to do, especially now that I understand how they work. I've done enough of them. I think I did probably about, it feels like 400 of them for this. I'm sure it wasn't that many, but they look nice, but I always forget how much I hate doing them in between actually doing them and not doing them. So yeah, I'm glad I did it. I think it looks nice. It adds a nice secret little touch for her. It's on the back, obviously. So yeah, I am very happy with how this turned out. And we are going to get into making mine, and I will show you the process for that. I'll go a little bit quicker since I've already shown you making hers. I will try to document different parts of the process just so it'll be a bit different. And yeah, that's where we're at. I really hope she likes this. I'll be able to give it to her next week when I see her. Alright, well, it's only been a few seconds for you, but it's been almost a year for me. I just never made the one for myself. So I am going to the Ren Fair on Sunday. Today is Friday. It's almost 4 o'clock. And I realized today while I was laying in bed with a migraine, which is now gone, which is why I'm kind of just chilling for the rest of the day to recoup from that. But anyways, I realized I don't have any pockets in the dress I want to wear. Why don't I make myself a pocket out of the same fabric that I used to make the dress, which is this fabric. And I had the idea that I should also maybe quilt around whatever elements that I decide to cut around for the design. And I have some leftover cotton batting here, and I have some fabric to use for the other pockets. I might find another one to go with this, but this will definitely work for at least some of it. So yeah, I'm excited to get started. We'll see if I can make this in a couple days. Okay, so here we are. It's been another 6 months. So yeah, this has been a weird video. It's taken me over a year to film, and it's just, yeah, it's been really weird. But here is the finished pocket that I made for myself. You can see the little, whatchamacallits on the back, like the loops. It fit my belt that I wore to the Ren Fair perfectly. I really like how the hand quilting turned out. It probably could have been more obvious or like more stand out if I wanted, but I really just used some thread that blended in with the background, and it just created a really subtle design that I liked. And yeah, it was the perfect size. We have the Ren Fair map still in the pocket, and there's something else in here. I don't actually know what it is. Oh, someone at the Ren Fair gave me a little bottle. I might like sew this to the pocket or something, you know, just to add a little pizzazz. But yeah, somebody, I think if I remember correctly, dropped some money, and my girlfriend and I were both like, oh wait, here! And as a thank you, she gave us each one of these little guys. It's just a little jar full of glitter, but it's a very cute little, you know, little trinket, and that is apparently pretty common at the Ren Fair for people to have things like that to give out, little trinkets, little goodies. But yeah, I really like how it turned out. I liked I like the fabric that I used, although part of me wishes that maybe I had changed the orientation of the fabric so perhaps only this dark green was visible, like horizontal stripes instead of vertical, but it's fine. The back is plain. There's nothing embroidered on the back of this one. And I did not realize when I made it, or maybe I did and I have since forgot, but I was looking at it today, I did not realize how, like, wonky it is. Like, this one's much more curved and this corner sags down a bit, but honestly, I don't care. It looks fine. I did the same sort of hand stitching on this one that I did on the other one to, you know, sew down the edges, and the same sort of almost like pleating or folding. And yeah, it turned out nice. There's not too much to say about it, but like I said, it was the perfect size. I could put my wallet and my little camera. I have this, it's a plastic, it was like 30 bucks, just film camera that fits in here. If I remember correctly, I think I put my wallet, the camera, and the map in it, and that was pretty much all I really needed to carry. Oh, and probably my phone, of course, but it was just the right amount of space for what I needed, and it turned out really nice. It matched the dress, and it was a fun, quick little project, and now I have a pocket. I may make myself another one eventually that I can tie, because this one only works if I'm wearing a belt. And I don't actually wear belts all that often in my day-to-day life, but yeah, for what it is and what I needed it for, it worked perfectly. Yeah, I think that is finally the end of the video. I know for you it doesn't seem that long, but for me it's been over a year. So yeah, this has been a process, but I'm glad I kept track of everything over time, and you know, sort of, you have a little bit of a record. I started out with long hair, I went to short hair, I've had top surgery, a lot's happened. So yeah, it's just been a long, slow process, and it's really gross outside, and I have a light on to try and mitigate that. So I hope it's not, the lighting isn't too wonky, but yeah, I think that's everything. So let me know down below, how do you feel about separate pockets or outside pockets, you know, stuff like that. Would you make one for everyday use? Would you make one for the Ren Fair? Have you tried this pattern? Would you try it? What did you think of the editing style? Did it feel too repetitive since I was making 2 pockets? I'm very curious about that. Let me know. Like the video if you liked it. Dislike the video if you disliked it. But if you disliked it and you're still here, why? Go touch some grass or snow, as the case may be where I am right now. It's sleeting. And make sure you hug a loved one, you know. Go drink some water. You don't need to be here if you're not enjoying the video. You're not obligated to watch it. And I think that's that. Leave a comment, like, oh, subscribe if you like. I'm trying to be a little more regular with videos. We will see. This is just for fun, and I have a lot on my plate elsewise. So, yeah. Just, you know, you can also follow me on Stet Stitches on Instagram. And you can follow me on Blue Sky if you want, but that's not a crafting specific space, but I am planning on sharing some of my crafting stuff there. That is, I think, just Stet Studio on Blue Sky. I will leave a link down below in case that's not correct. And I guess turn on the little bell thing if you want to be informed of when the next video will be. I think the next video will be my Finish It February video, and then after that it's finally going to be the heirloom quilt cardigan. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this very drawn out, very patchwork video. I think I edited it together pretty well, if I do say so myself. And yeah, have an absolutely wonderful day. Bye!